Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the wonderful world of wine. How are you, Kim?
I'm great. How are you, Mark?
You should be great. So
I'm
this is
awesome.
this is
I'm better than great.
I've been waiting for this episode.
Oh,
Kim,
yay.
as everybody knows, we are always talking that Kim is the bubbly queen and king of sparkling wines. Oh, I shouldn't say king, queen of sparkling wines.
I could be the king.
And she had the opportunity to go to Champagne. I have it.
Good evening. Time being 7 o'clock. I call the April 26, 2023 meeting of the Franklin Town Council to order. Please pause for a moment of silence. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Announcements from the chair. All citizens are now welcome to attend public board and committee meetings in person. Meetings are live streamed by Franklin TV and shown on Comcast Channel 11 and Verizon Channel 29. In an effort to maximize citizen engagement opportunities, citizens will be able to continue to participate remotely via phone, or you may click the Zoom link that is on the posted agenda and on the town's website. The phone number is 929-205-6099, and the meeting ID is 839-7437-8921. And then you need to hit the pound sign. Once again, the meeting ID is 839-7437-8921 pound. If residents are just interested in watching the meeting, it will also be live streamed by Franklin TV. Okay, next item on the agenda is citizens' comments. Citizens are welcome to express their views for up to 3 minutes on a matter that is not on the agenda. The council will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised during citizens' comments. The town council will give remarks appropriate consideration and may ask the town administrator to review the matter. Is there anyone in council chambers that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Please, if you just come forward to the microphone and state your name and address.
Good evening, I'm Maureen Sullivan. I have 3 properties actually on King and Washington Street areas. There's a bylaw, Mrs. Bennett bylaw it's called. I've been told by neighbors. I don't know what it is, I haven't had time to look it up. But there should be no traffic, trucking traffic coming from Grove Street onto Washington, heading towards 495. Is anyone aware of that bylaw? Am I mistaken? Have I been misled?
We will.
You can't comment to me?
Right, but we will look into it.
So the thing is, if we're allowing, there's UPS now. There's already a situation with the trucking company on Washington Street. I'm not going to get into that. That's not about this. You have enough to deal with that there, but that intersection, it's a death waiting to happen. It's ridiculous. And then this other place was okay down on Washington Street, off where the high tension line is. Whatever's going there with those things, they have been taking or bringing in gravel and sand and all kinds of things, and they have these 18-wheeler length trucks that are going around that corner. They can't make it. And then you've got mostly it's Nicholas and the green trucks. The name escapes me now. But there's 2 companies now that are coming Washington Street, coming out of Grove Street and going to this other facility on Washington Street. And that wasn't the way it was set up before. It was just going to be that facility was just going to come and go around the corner. It's an absolute mess there. I know you can't come back and say something to me, but This isn't the type of thing where I'm saying the traffic's bad and I got a light in front of my house. It's entertaining to me. The police, you go everywhere in town now and you see these police signs that say, we're gonna catch everyone and fine you for being on your cell phone. You don't understand how dangerous it is. You've got a charter school going in that same driveway that those trucks are going in. Now, I'm complaining about the corner. That's not what I'm bringing up here tonight. I want to mostly focus on that Grove Street. Should not be coming out of that street. If we have that Mrs. Bennett's bylaw, I don't know what the name of the bylaw is, but they should not be coming out there. And when those businesses are okayed and they go through the planning board, I went to a meeting the other night, it was 2 seconds, yep, everything looks okay, but you have to follow through with it. So if it's in the planning stages and they okay it, and it's okay with the town council has to make sure that those rules stay in place throughout however long they're supposed to. Now, that should be to the end of time, until now that I brought it up, somewhere in the future, in the short future, I'm sure we'll be looking to dissolve that bylaw, because it doesn't work for UPS and all that. The UPS trucks are smaller, but at nighttime, I didn't realize, I have property on that corner for sale, I did not realize, I would have advertised that it's zoned for 24-hour trucking. Is that correct? You can't answer me. I'll tell you right now, it's open 24 hours a day. There is not one day that there is not a truck that goes in and out of there every single hour of the day. So.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience? Please, just state your name.
I'm Kenneth Elmore. I'm a resident at 29 School Street, and I represent Dean College. I work there. I wanted to just do two things. One, I wanted to just inform friends and neighbors that we will see a big exodus from campus and from Franklin this weekend and next weekend. Next weekend we'll also bring a number of visitors into town, parents and friends who will come to see Dean College's graduation. It'll be our 157th graduation. This year we will be honoring Marty Walsh, Rutina Wesley, and Andrea Kramer as a speaker. We invite everyone to join us on May 6th at 11 a.m. on the front lawn at Dean College to celebrate our wonderful young people who will be out there, their families, and also, I think, to celebrate Franklin. Secondly, I look forward to more conversations and connections with the town of Franklin, with Dean College engaged, and also to say, as a resident who's been here for almost a year, it has been a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda?
Just a question, will we have an opportunity to speak on items that are on the agenda when they come?
Yeah,
Yes.
please. Name and address.
Here we go. Hi,
Hi.
I'm Mary O'Neill, Beaver Street.
Mhm.
I'm a disability chairperson in town, and we're having a disability expo on May 20th from 11 to 2, and we have vendors coming from everywhere. HMO is involved, Kennedy Donovan, Mental Health Center for Independent Living, Bailey's Team for Autism, and countless others. And we're also reaching out to the other towns around the area so that we can bring in a lot of people. Yeah, I think we have 24 vendors in all, and it's going to be held, as I said, at the senior center, and we're really looking forward to it. There's a lot of people I don't think realize that we're in town, this commission, and we do whatever we can. If we get a call, we'll follow it up. If we can't answer the situation, you know, right then and there, we'll find someone who can. We don't leave people sort of hanging, if you will. And there's always a follow-up call to make sure that they're okay, because we really deeply care about the people in town. And this is one example of something that I never heard of. This is autism awareness. What this is, it's a covering for the seat belts for a child or maybe an older person who might want to get out of the seat belts, and this prevents it. And this is put out by the sheriff's office. And Franklin Police Department gave me several. So, I have a flyer that I'd like, you know, when you have a minute, we could just pass around and
Sure.
please, let people know, because it's gonna be a wonderful thing.
Hold up the flyer, Mary. Chris will get a zoomed shot right in.
Turn it around, man.
There you
Yeah,
go.
hold it up. All right, there you go.
There you go.
Whoop. Almost, Chris.
Yeah,
Right there, perfect.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, we got
Not
it.
clearly, though.
No, turn it a little more. Turn a
This
little
is
more.
my assistant, Steve.
Nice job.
So please, you know, spread the word as best you can, and it'll be wonderful. All right?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mary.
And thank you.
Absolutely.
What time is it?
All right. Have a good night. Let me just, before I leave, I didn't hear the buzz.
You're still good, Mary.
a minute, okay.
I just want you all to know, each and every one of you, how much we appreciate you and all you do for Franklin. I know these nights, these town meetings go for hours, so you are appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Mary, could you tell me this time it is again?
Sure, it's 11 to 2.
11 to 2, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, geez.
Guy with the blue hat. You're next.
I don't know.
Mr. Chairman, Brutus Scannaretti, DPW Director, and with me is Kyle Cervello. He's the Highway Ground Superintendent. And that's a tough act to follow. Hey, I just want to give a little announcement. I started this a long time ago. We were finally recognized as Tree City USA. It's kind of cool. It's been around for a while. I honestly started like 10 years ago. Then I got busy. And so the staff and particularly Derek Adams, he kind of took the ball and ran with it. The neat thing about this is it basically is an evaluation of like how much we love our trees, and it's all based on maintenance and outreach and a lot of stuff we're doing along tree plantings and stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's a DPW award that, you know, we've established it, you know, through our budgeting, and you know I love trees, so it's actually a cool thing. The neat thing about it too is there's I think there's less than 7% of the communities in Massachusetts are Tree City, and less than 2% in the whole country. So it's kind of cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't
wicked
know that.
cool.
So also, just because we love getting gifts, I brought in a dozen tulip trees.
Yay!
So like we pass these out. We work with recreation. So one of the programs we do when we do the cleanup day, we've been passing out. If you guys know, we've been passing out trees for years. So that's part of what we do, and do a replanting program. But we had a couple extra over, so there's if one of you guys would like to grab one, or anybody from the audience, it's a tulip tree. It's a great tree. It's named a tulip tree because it looks like a tulip and it flowers. This tree eventually will be 90 feet tall. So don't
Really?
plant it in your front yard if you only got like 12 feet.
If you want to see one that's matured, go on High Street next to the tall flagpole. We planted one there years ago, which is pretty good size, and you'll see a more matured tulip tree.
It's a great street tree. They grow very fast. They're disease resistant, drought tolerant. It's kind of, and it's actually native to this area, so that's what we try to do.
Good for
Really?
pollinators, too.
Yes, good
Yes.
for all. So, thank you for your time, and it's, you'll be seeing these signs up, as you come into town on high visible locations, so people coming from Bellingham will be jealous.
Nice job.
Thank you, Brutus. Great job, Carlos. Thank you.
I've been waiting 10 years for a tulip tree.
Okay, is there anyone else in council chambers that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Mr. Sherlock, name and address, please.
Steve Sherlock, 10 Lawrence Drive. Just a quick reminder, favorite poetry project, Saturday, April 29th from 12, that's noontime, to 3 p.m., Saturday at the library. If you have a favorite poem, less than 5 minutes, so you can't read the longest one you got. But just a relatively short poem. You can read it, and there'll be some discussion with the people who are also reading, or if you just want to go and listen. Saturday, noon to 3, library. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Is there anyone else in council chambers that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? Seeing no one, I will go out to Zoom land. Is there anyone out there in Zoom land that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda?
Hi, this is Megan, and I do have something.
Megan, just name and address, please, Megan.
Sure. Of course, thank you. Megan McCarthy. I live at 148 Dean Ave in Franklin. Two hard acts to follow. I don't have poetry and I didn't bring trees, but I am a member of 350 Mass, the Greater Franklin Node. And I'm here to ask the Town Council and the Police Station Building Committee to prioritize the most energy efficient approach as you begin planning to renovate or replace the current police station. If the town's looking to build a new police station, I encourage you to follow the most stringent building codes, which is the net zero pathway. And if it's going to be a renovation, I would love to push you all to think about being as energy efficient and net zero as possible using the latest clean building technology. A few notes on net building guidelines and cost benefits of prioritizing the approach. So as a quick reminder, a net zero building is a highly energy efficient building that produces as much renewable energy on site as it consumes. Massachusetts has set ambitious goals for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and achieving net zero emissions by 2050. This goal is a clear indication that we do need to move away from using fossil fuels. Already as a green community, Franklin has adopted the Stretch Building Code, which is wonderful. Net zero takes us a step further by ensuring that the new construction is consistent with those net zero Massachusetts 2050 goals, primarily through deep energy efficiency, reduced heating loads, and efficient electrification. There are a number of environmental and health benefits to opting for a net zero building. I'm going to focus my time today on the cost benefits because that is really important too as we're thinking about this. I had a couple of slides prepared that I don't think I'm able to share on Zoom, but I will follow up with the committee after. But just a few high-level data points around this. So the vast majority of net zero projects that already exist in Massachusetts experience a premium cost increase of less than 1%. For example, forgoing gas hookups in new buildings save developers thousands of dollars per building. Electrification with highly efficient appliances like heat pumps can reduce utility bills and eliminate natural gas bills. According to the Applied Economics Clinic, heating with air source heat pumps in Massachusetts is actually going to become less expensive than heating with gas in just a few short years. All building types can be built zero energy ready for upfront costs of less than 7%, and generally recoup those expenses in about 5 to 10 years. So after that's been met, the town can continue to have annual savings in their energy bills. In addition to the direct savings, Massachusetts and federal incentives of 30 to 50% create a number of additional cost savings. So net zero compliance is actually the most cost-effective approach to any new building. So just quickly in conclusion, like by investing in a net zero building, we can save on energy costs while we demonstrate our commitment to sustainability. On a personal level, I'm proud to live in a town that's already been designated a green community. I'm excited to raise my kids in a place that prioritizes a healthy and livable future. I appreciate you, Town Council, for all you do to prioritize sustainability in your decision making. And like I said, I do have a few slides that have some additional data and resources on the case, so I'll plan to follow up with that via email.
Great.
Thank you. That's it from me.
Thank you, Megan.
Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else out in Zoom land that would like to speak on an item not on tonight's agenda? See any hands? Do you, Jamie, see any hands?
No more.
Okay, moving on. Next item on the agenda, approval of minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from March 15th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion, additions, deletions. Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, proclamations, recognitions, we don't have any this evening. Appointments, none this evening. Public hearings, we have one this evening. The transfer of Section 15 wine and malt beverages package store license and approval of Parth Patel as the manager. Marlboro Food, Inc., doing business as 7-Eleven. 37380B, located at 664 Union Street. Clerk will read the license, transaction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a license transaction transfer of a subsection 15 wine and malt beverages package store license for Marlboro Food Incorporated, doing business as 7-Eleven 37380B, 664 Union Street, Franklin, Mass. 02038. Marlboro Food Incorporated, doing business as 711-37380B, seeking approval for a transfer to it an existing subsection 15 wine and malt beverage package store license, presently held by TM1 Solutions Incorporated, doing business as 711 store 37380A, to be exercised at the same location, and to approve the manager, Parth Patel. All departments have signed off on this application, and
Hold on the motion.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the public hearing portion of it, so I would declare the public hearing open. And since it is a public hearing, I would go to the public first. Jamie, is there anything you want to?
No, through Mr. Chairman, through the council, I just want to mention the legislation for action is obviously following this, but all departments have signed off on this application in compliance.
Okay. Is there anyone in council chambers that would like to speak on this license transfer? Is there anyone out in Zoom land that would like to speak on this? Not seeing anyone, I'll go to the council. Is there any councilors that have a question? Then I would declare the public hearing closed, and we will move on to license transaction, and the clerk will now read the transfer, the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a motion to approve the request by Marlboro Food Incorporated, doing business as 711-37380B, for transfer to its existing subsection 15 wine and malt beverages package store license, presently held by TM1 Solutions Incorporated, DBA 711 store number 37380A, to be exercised at the same location, and to approve the manager, Parth Patel.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Okay, next license transaction is Robert Vizella La Cantina Winery, Farmers Market license. Clerk will read the license transaction.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a license transaction, Robert Vizella of La Cantina Winery, 355 Union Street. This is a request for a farmers market license to allow samples and sale of bottled wine at the Franklin Farmers Market pursuant to Chapter 138, subsection 15F.
It is.
Okay. Motion to approve this issuance of a farmers market license to Robert Vizella of La Cantina Winery Company.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we will now move on to presentations and discussions. And the first discussion item this evening is Open Space and Recreation Plan, and Brika Lee Goodlander is with us, Conservation Agent, Natural Resource Manager, and I think Jamie will do a lead on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to council. So, Brika Lai is going to give us a welcome, Brika Lai. I think this might be your first time presenting before the council. Yeah,
Yes.
so welcome.
Hi, not on
welcome.
Zoom.
Before,
Not on Zoom.
yeah, except for
It's a
Zoom.
good thing.
Couple quick notes. She'll go through the open space plan update in a moment, but this is a goal of the council's this year, as I wrote in the memo, but just for the folks at home. A couple of the goals were to discuss maintenance of trails, and I know that a lot of those plans are going through the Conservation Commission about DPW. There's going to be a goal in there likely about friends groups and about stewards and other things to deal with trail maintenance. That was a goal on the council's agenda. And also the open space plan. As you're about to hear, it's been an incredible effort, and we expect the final plan to be before the council later this fall. So. And I would be remiss, I have to say it, Brika Lai has been everything and more of what we thought of for this position. As all of you know, in this year's budget, we went from a part-time conservation agent, we redid the position, to a conservation agent and natural resources manager. and she has absolutely blown our expectations completely away. And as I've said to a couple of you online, I hope I don't ever have to work with another conservation agent ever again in my life. She's been phenomenal, and I know I'm embarrassing her, but that's okay, because she's really, as all the rest of the staff know, fit in so well downstairs and brought her incredible passion for nature to the town, and is doing things exactly as we had thought. So I just want to thank her and the Conservation Commission for their support over the transition of the conservation agents the last couple of years. So welcome to the council meeting. If you want to take the rest of the night off,
Take it away from
maybe
there,
you can
huh?
if you want. It's okay. So
She's as red as
I'm
the
not
cherry
starting
tree.
my timer yet. And yesterday was my year, so that was.
oh,
really
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
All right. I
She's
don't have
gonna
to say
time
anything.
you.
She's I am going to time myself. But I'm leaving enough time for the good old Midwest goodbye, so it's ahead of time.
Goodbyes.
Well,
goodbye.
leave 'em- what? No. For your comments. No, I'm looking out for you. All right. So we're gonna start, I guess, now. Thanks, Jamie. So this is the open space and recreation plan. I know all of you have been on my emails. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it. So I'm just going to jump right in with my presentation. This is the same presentation that's on our webpage, but with a few minor modifications. So what is the Open Space and Recreation Plan? I'll call it the OSRP for brevity. It's essentially a plan for plans. MassGov defines it as a tool through which a community plans for the future of its conservation and recreation resources. It's really an accumulation of civic engagement, public participation, stakeholder engagement, and goals and objectives. It's also a source of funding for the next 5 to 7 years for the town, and at the very least, a way to connect with residents about local conservation and recreation issues. So overview and benefits of the OSRP outside of grant funding. It provides a snapshot of community priorities from the civic engagement process. It guides policy decisions. It helps maintain public spaces and recreational facilities. It protects open spaces, habitat, and biodiversity. It develops and implements capital improvement program and improves public access and awareness. So really quickly, there are 11 components required by the state for the open space and recreation plan. There's a plan summary, an introduction, a community setting, so that is the regional context, community history, demographics, etc. Environmental inventory and analysis, which is why you have me. Inventory of land, community vision, which is the public civic engagement process, analysis of needs, goals and objectives outlined in that, or defined by that civic engagement process, an action plan, all public comments, whether that be by phone call, email, in the survey, or in the Google form, are included in the plan. There's actually a QR code right behind here for anybody that wants to provide comments, and all references used throughout that process. So accomplishments since the 2016 OSRP, I will not read off of this. I actually don't like reading off of PowerPoint, but I included everything in here anyway, so everybody can go back and reference this. So I think the biggest one would be actually the CPA.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest one, and probably the SNET as well.
Yeah.
SNET. So the open space update process, it's pretty lengthy, by no means as lengthy as the master plan process. But we, as Conservation Department and Conservation Commission, we've been having bi-monthly focus group meetings an hour before every single one of our regularly scheduled public hearings. We have, I think, 103 stakeholder groups that we've identified that we've been spam emailing to come to these meetings and provide public feedback. We also have monthly staff meetings. Sorry, Jamie, I turned it so I'd watch it, but I'm not watching it. Monthly staff meetings. We do have a citizen survey, which is only open until Sunday. So if anybody has yet to take that survey, please do. It will help us define the plan appropriately with a comprehensive view of what the community truly needs. We've had 2 public hearings out of the 3 required. The next one is in June. There will be a month-long public comment period once the OSRP is drafted, and then it'll come before the Conservation Commission, then the Town Council, and then State for approval. So, as of today, at 2 p.m., We've had 564 respondents. It's actually less than our 2016 open space survey, which was 686. I had a lofty goal of 2,000. Yeah, it's okay. Aim big, right? So I just included some statistics here that I thought were interesting. So 95.2% of all respondents are property owners. 38.2% are what I have learned would be considered a townie. Is that right? Over 20 years. I don't know. But 24.9 is 10 to 20 years. So, I mean, they're still up there. 36.9% are family with young children. That is families with children in primary school. 34.8 is a household of 4. 3.1% require access accommodations. However, 66.2% of all correspondents believe that access accommodations is very important, so they ranked that very high. And 25.6% have either friends, family, or roommates over the age of 65. But I don't always analyze data, but when I do, I want lots of it. So I would like more, please. So here's some graphs that I thought were just interesting snapshots. So I figured the bike lanes would pull some interest there. How often do individuals use muni or school and rec facilities, sufficient sidewalks? How often do respondents use designated conservation areas? It might be small for you to see from afar, but again, this presentation will be available after the fact, and then once this comes back in front of you in September, you will see all the same information. So it's a little bit more, do you foresee opportunity on any lots to be purchased as open space? Although I see a typo now. Anyway, 69.2% said no, but 30.8% said yes. 44.1% of all respondents would support increasing the CPA fund to 3%. 88.7% would support town appropriation or acquisition or construction of additional rec facilities, and similarly 87.7% for open space. And this slide makes me very happy. That was my face right there. Right there. So out of all priorities identified in the open space plan, residents stated or responded that improving existing conservation lands for recreation, habitat, and biodiversity was their highest priority. And the most important things to protect and preserve were woodland and forest land, land for protection of water resources, land for protection of wildlife habitat, ecosystem functions, and climate resiliency, land for groundwater protection, and land that is important for mitigating climate change. Makes me a very happy agent. So, I'm not biased, I'm just honest. So ways to get involved, again, there are 4 days left to take the survey, but their comments can always be made right up until, the final deadline here, probably August. Give me some time to still accumulate it all for everybody. But there are Google Forms. There's a Google form out there. You can always email me. You can call me. I really encourage people to attend those focus group meetings. We will have those till the end of May still. We still have our one public hearing in June. And then if any presentations or stakeholder groups would like a presentation, I'm more than willing and available to do that. And then there's a bunch of QR codes. So. Minute 30 left. Minute left.
Very well done. An awful lot of information, for sure. Questions from the council? Patrick?
Hi, so I was wondering if you'd give an update about the Schmidt Farm.
Sure. What would you like to know about an update?
What's the latest plans with it?
So that's more of the master plan process. I can list off a few of the highlighted goals that we received from resident feedback. Big one would be to rehab the barn, keep Schmidt Farm in some sort of agricultural or ag education setting. Perhaps have the barn dual as an event center or a meeting room. There's been talk about having a CSA versus not having a CSA. That seems to be a pretty substantial debate, friendly debate anyways. But that's about it.
What's the CSA again?
Community service agreement,
Okay,
something like
great.
that, or
Community supported agriculture.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Community service agreement. Don't ask me. But
Bureaucrat for you.
yeah, thank you. I don't know if that's a compliment, Jamie. Thank you.
You've been hanging out with Mark, I think.
Yeah, up here, yes, yes. So anyways,
Agreement.
yeah, there's gonna be one thing I messed up. Yeah, so CSA, so that would be like, town subsidized agriculture.
Okay. And the other thing that I talked to you about before, having the forester come. like
Yeah,
you
Mike
did.
Downey.
Yeah, so have them
Yes.
come other places too would be great.
Yes, yeah. I think that would be really good. Mike Downey has been pretty involved in our open space plan. So DCR is a stakeholder in the open space plan anyways historically, but because Mike Downey is our service forester for this region, and he's also the forest stewardship coordinator for the state, I work pretty closely with him, trying to put forest stewardship plans on all of our conservation areas. So,
Great, thank you.
thanks, Pat.
Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor
Councilor
Frangillo?
Just quickly, I don't love always taking up too much time just for thank yous in these, but I do want to echo the sentiments, just how lucky we are to have you and how fantastic you've been. But I also want to draw attention, all those hours that you've been pointing out in terms of times that, like hour before each conservation commission.
Yeah.
That's volunteers, town volunteers, showing up an hour before, something that they didn't necessarily sign up for when they joined. They've been fantastic. They've been amazing conversations. We're so lucky to have not only you, but so many great resident volunteers helping just make our town a better place. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Councilor Hamblin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair, I was actually going to say what Kobe said, but I just wanted to let people know that, like I was at the public hearing last night, and they have these set of goals for this open space plan that is amazing. It is incredible how much time they're putting into it, and the feedback from the community has been really fun to listen to. I think that's been really great to hear all these other voices. And one of the things that came up last night at the public hearing was the fact that things might not have worked that well last time, the connection, like getting all the community together, but the fact that Bricolai is actually a full-time employee has made a huge difference. And so you said that earlier, but it's because you did that, Jamie, so thank you for that. And thank you for all the Conservation Commission that are here tonight and online. You guys are doing a great job. It's really fun to watch you. It is. I guess maybe I'm just kind of a municipal nerd now or something, but anyway. But so I won't take up any more time, but thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Chandler?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Hi, thank you. We're happy about open space, obviously, on this council. Appreciate that. My question, at like Schmitz and LeBastia, or if you want to call it Maple Hill, whatever you want to call it, the parking.
Yep.
Is that, are you helping plan that, or is that just the DPW? Maybe, Mr. Chairman.
Jamie, you want to jump in on that?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. It'll be the DPW in some way. I think, Bricolai and we're waiting for the plan to get done. I think, as everybody knows, there's a couple of things that have to get done. Both parcels have to have a third party at some point, be designated under CPA purchase land, to essentially be kind of a pseudo manager. And I think both parcels in particular, with the connectivity options and the trail options, we're going to need to work with GIS and DPW on, exactly where those are, negotiate with those third parties, particularly like Metacomet. And there's a lot of connectivity options, particularly with the Maple Hill piece. And then Schmidt Farm is really another, it's probably the most exciting things I think the town could go through, but there'll be a process too about how to use that, if there's leasing options, community gardens. And just to remind everybody, we own it, but, Mr. Schmidt's still building the house. We will do a ribbon cutting, later in the year, in the fall, when all of this is kind of wrapped up, which will then kick off kind of a process of when do we rehab the barn, the demo of the house, there's going to be a lot of steps involved. It's going to take a few years. And so from a planning effort, Councilor Chandler, it's just going to take a while to kind of really connect all the dots and, do all the work we need to do to really bring it to its full potential. I think there's even possibility of talking to some other major third-party land trusts that have really made a lot of these style parcels even greater in terms of their accessibility with CSAs and the options with the barn possibly of like just some smaller gatherings. I know Gus Brown, our building commissioner, said if I take down the house, I just want a bluegrass band in the barn. I want to have a hoedown. So I think we owe that to the building commissioner at some point, which I would love to see too. And I got a lot of great group bluegrass bands that can play. So.
Thank you, Jamie. Councilor Chandler still has the floor.
That was a great update, thank you. I appreciate that. All set, Mr. Chairman.
Any other councilors? Any other councilor? Councilor Jones.
Thank you. See what I have to work with here.
I'm sorry. The conservation.
What I would love to do is get you and Ryan Jetty as the next spokesperson for any new videos that we have to put forth for the master plan.
Yes.
That
was
were
awesome.
Excellent in that video. You worked so well together, between both of your amazing smiles and your enthusiasm for what you do for your jobs. It really, it speaks loads about the effort that's going into the open space and recreation plan. And I want to thank you and all the people that really put a lot of hard work into making this happen. I know you still have until August. I'll give you till 15th.
All right.
Just kidding.
Sounds good.
But,
I thought you were going to say June.
no. Just joking. But thank you for everyone, and that was a great presentation. I look forward to sitting down and reading the whole thing myself.
Thank you, Councilor Jones.
You can have the floor back, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks. Is there anyone in council chambers that has a question or comment? Anyone out there in Zoom land? Ricola, thank you so much for all you're doing and all you've done. I do want to caution to a degree the residents. I know this council we've come up with 200 acres of land to put into open space over the last few years, but there's more needed. I know everybody would like it all developed as to open space and used immediately.
Let us in.
But it takes dollars to get that done. And we need to continue. We are continuing to move forward, and we will continue to do that. But it isn't going to happen tomorrow, and I just want to make sure that people understand that. But the biggest part is done, which is we own the land. Now it's time to work on this process. And thank you so much for all you're doing and the community involvement that you're using to put this information together. That's what it's all about, certainly, from my standpoint. So thank you, and thank you to the rest of the Conservation Commission that came or were watching on TV. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. The next item on the agenda is again, another discussion item, which is a few of the councilors have asked for a display of flags on town flag poles of property. Jamie, you want to do the lead-in?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So really shortly, I think my memo in the packet, I included in there for folks watching at home. You can go to franklinma.gov, go to the town council agendas or the calendar, go to tonight's meeting, and you can see all the materials. I think I don't need to state the town position, or at least the staff one, from what's in the memo. I will say and point folks for an additional resource. There was an incredibly well-done article by Matt Stout in the Boston Globe on Monday. I sent it to all the counselors, but it's out there for anybody to read. And I think it shows, I wish I knew that article was coming. I didn't. But I think it shows at least some of the issues of the complexity of what cities and towns are going through right now in this issue. I think at the end of the day, as I said in the memo, the staff and myself obviously respect the will and decisions of the council, and we will do whatever the council finally decides. Ultimately tonight, through Mr. Chairman, tonight's a discussion item. There is no legislation for action. Folks are happy to ask myself, the town attorney, and I know the DPW director and the building commissioner is also here. The reason why I asked the building commissioner to attend, I wasn't sure if anybody would attend on Zoom or in person, but we have had some inquiries from some small business owners basically concerned that some flags might be larger than some of what we allow under our town sign bylaw. So that was another avenue I hadn't really considered yet. And so we're here to answer any questions that folks may have regarding the issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, I will open it up to questions or comments from the council. Huh? It's not, this is our discussion versus a public hearing, so we go to the council first. So, is there anyone on the council that would, Councilor Cormier Ledger?
Gonna make me go first, Mr.
Well,
Chairman?
you were the first one that was shaking his head.
I nodded.
You did nod, thank you. And thank you for that.
And I want to thank the residents that have reached out by email and by speaking in person and through social media, both pro and against this issue. I know I certainly value everybody's feedback and try to do my best to listen. I know this is a broader topic because it was originally introduced by someone who came to a meeting and asked particularly about the pride flag in June, and I know it's morphed into a larger discussion which other towns are grappling with, and we're going to have to grapple with too, and tonight's just a discussion and not a vote. I want to frame my comments around, particularly around, I guess, the pride flag, because that's what was brought up and that was the impetus to this discussion. We talked at our budget subcommittee meeting tonight about the need to know what we are as a town, to know what we believe in, what we stand for, how we want to market ourselves, how we want to be seen by others. When people move to our community, what are their expectations? This is part of that. This is very much part of that bigger discussion. If we are truly a no place for hate, if we are truly a place that's going to have an LGBT festival, if we are truly a place that's going to have an openly gay town councilor and an open member of the LGBT community on the school committee, then the flag, the pride flag, which certainly does not take place of the beautiful flag behind me, but that pride flag is a symbol to an awful lot of people that the town is a safe, welcoming, and affirming place for them to come, live, raise a family, do business, conduct themselves where they are not going to be in fear. And if you've never had to live in fear in the United States, then it's a very difficult thing to try to explain to people that have never had to worry about, can I hold my spouse's hand in public? Can I get married? Can I be afforded children? Am I going to be discriminated on a job? And this is bigger than Franklin. This is bigger than the state of Massachusetts. This is something the country's seeing, and we're seeing LGBT people targeted all over the nation for doing nothing but being themselves. So this proposal that was brought forth by the young lady to say, June is Pride Month, we would love to see the town fly the pride flag as a symbol to show the community what we stand for. It is not taking place of this. It is not in any way superseding this. It doesn't even have to be on the same flagpole as the United States flag if the town so desired to put it on the town flagpole or some other flagpole. But flying that high and proud for the month of June, as many other communities do throughout Massachusetts, is a symbol that we believe in that as a community. If we decide not to, for a whole bunch of reasons that Jamie has stated here, so be it. Because private landowners are still going to fly their flags, and I 100% get that and respect that. But as a member of the LGBT community, it means an awful lot to me to say, yeah, you know what, that would be really great to see flying at my town hall or downtown to just show people, hey, look, we value you. You're welcome here. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier-Ledger. Any other, Councilor Frangillo?
Yeah, I thought that was very wonderfully said, and I appreciate you speaking up. What you did was capture why this ever even was a conversation. The importance of the flag, the importance of symbols, what that means. Right. This was. We know that historically, this is a group that has been targeted, silenced, met with violence, and a pride flag is an opportunity to establish a space as welcoming and inclusive and raised up a community that has been historically targeted. And that's not just nationwide, right? This is something that's happened locally. I tell people a lot that my high school experience, which was not that long ago, I graduated in 2015, it was remarkable how many people in my graduating class came out almost the day they left Franklin. As soon as they went to college, all of these people started coming out. To me, that showed, even if there wasn't open hate, which there very often was in the hallways, but even if there wasn't, there was this culture of being uncomfortable, of being unsure, of being afraid to rock the boat, and so many people were just didn't feel comfortable expressing themselves fully in Franklin. I think we've made so much progress, but there's still so much to be made. I mean, we all watched last year as a student spoke about continued hate in the high school and was met with jeers from the crowd calling her a liar, right? That was still last year. We had our first openly gay elected, to my knowledge, just last year. And that was bravely, if I can speak on behalf of my colleagues, so inspiringly bravely, just years after that same exact run for elected office was met with messages of hate and violence directed at him, as well as our first openly transgender, right? So this is not only a conversation about making people feel welcome anywhere in the country, but it's about reminding people that they're welcome here in Franklin. I get the comments. I get the approach of the town. I see the fears around what is free speech, what can a government say. I respect, so many people that I respect provided comments on both sides about why we should take this opportunity in favor and why we shouldn't. To wrap up, and I do have a few more thoughts, and maybe I'll get an opportunity to provide later. I do want to. I think it's easy to scare ourselves that this is something that we're somehow reinventing. I quickly looked up before the meeting as many communities as I could that have been flying the pride flag in June for for years. I got 48 communities, 48 Massachusetts communities have already been flying the pride flag every June. We're not the first community. That's almost 20% of Massachusetts who've been doing it. It's met with support. It's a normal thing. I showed the Medway example, which is it's not about leaving it open for comment. It's not about saying that anyone can supply. It's not about putting our flagpoles out for rent. It's saying, here are the flags that we support. The U.S. one, the state, the town, military flags, and in the month of June, we put up the pride flag. I think it's a very clean way to support us. Again, I understand some reasons for not, but I just hope that we don't scare ourselves as this being something that we can't take on.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Councilor Chandler.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. That was well said, both of you. I appreciate it. You could tell it came from the heart. And I don't think anyone in this council wants to see anyone in fear here. And it is a no place for hate town, thank God. The only problem I have is I just don't want to be part of a group that okays this and then see what other flags people will want to fly. And then I have to be responsible for people walking by that flag. That is just disgusting to me personally. And I don't really know how to describe this because you're making great points. I understand that, but I'm just trying to look at the big picture of what's gonna come. Because other flags will come. I just believe that. Ones that I don't think anyone here is gonna be happy with. But the bottom line is I don't want anyone to be in fear, and I just, like actually Councilor Comey said, hopefully 10,000 people fly in June on their own property and just not the flag right out here or at the schools or, that's just where I'm coming from now. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Councilor Chandler. Councilor Hamblin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through the chair. Very well said, Councilor Frangillo and Councilor Cormier-Ledger and Councilor Chandler. I know this is a very, it's not that easy to be able to put into words how we feel, right? And so it makes it really difficult because it's not really, because of, as Councilor Chandler said, the fear of the flags that could come, right? In a world where we all want everyone to love each other, but it doesn't necessarily work that way. But I had written a few things that I want to read. And thank you, Jamie, for your memo. I think the 57 pages of memo was very thoughtful. So, and thank you for everyone who has written to us and commented. So, people have said that this topic is divisive. But I think this is really important to have these discussions for a greater understanding of each other. So we listen and learn about issues that affect other people and the people's lives in our community. To open our minds into different ways of thinking so we can have unity, right? This is going to take a long time, but we need to make these steps forward. I fly a rainbow peace flag at my house. When I see it and other flags around the town, I smile. To me, it means that the person or that I see differences and I accept you for those differences. It's okay. I stand with you. I believe in your right to exist and to live freely, and I accept you and I love you. So when I see that flag, that's what that means to me. But I know there are people out there that don't see it that way. I don't know why. I don't understand it. And I really wish that we could live in an era when we could actually ask someone and find out and understand why they see it differently than us, than I do, okay? But I would like to be able to do that without feeling threatened or having our family, friends, the people that we love, our employees, our businesses canceled and threatened. And so this is the thing, right? This is what we're talking about. Like, how do we get through this as one Franklin? But I believe that the government must be neutral, okay? So, and it's not. And so we need to continue to work on this. We accept everyone. You know, what Jamie put in his memo about leasing the town flagpoles, to me, I don't like that idea. And I'm of the mind of, if we allow one, we allow everything. If we celebrate a religious holiday, we celebrate all of them or none of them. Like, that's, as a government, that's what we should do. I mean, there are lots of flags that make me smile, but there are a lot of flags that don't make me smile, right? I tried to analyze my thoughts when I see that flag. Like, what does that flag mean to me, but what does it mean to the person who's actually flying it? And why do they feel that way? Deciding what flag to hang and what flag not to hang, that is the part that makes this whole thing divisive. Right? And, you know, of course, we're not the only town that's dealing with this, and we're dealing about this all the way across. If we decide to do something, I think we need to take time and make sure the policy works for everyone, and it's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Very well said. Councilor DeLorco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you. I agree with everybody. Councilor Pingello, everyone has spoken great. And I, too, agree with Councilor Chan. I'm just kind of scared about what else will fly up there. I will fly a pride flag at my house. I have no problem at all. But me and Glenn were talking earlier. I mean, Labor Day, why can't we fly my union flag and his union flag? And any other union member that's here. So that's the issues that I'm worried about, and I agree with Councilor Hamlin that we have to have, it has to be worked out, it has to be worked out. This is a no place for hate. I was very surprised that, to hear that, Councilor Fingello, about the kids in your class, because I actually talked to my kids and they didn't see that, but maybe you did, I don't know. But, and they were in the same grade as you. So, because I did ask them that before I came, and they said they have not, they haven't seen it, none of that, and, which I thought was good, to be honest with you, but you might have seen it in a different way. I'm not contradicting you at all. But, yeah, maybe if it's not a flagpole, maybe it's a banner on the gazebo in the center of town or something, by anybody who wants to be there. But there are a lot of flags that I would not want to see hanging either, and that's what I'm scared about more than anything. But I think we can work at it. And I know I talked to a counselor today in Peabody, and Peabody is flying a flag, but that had nothing to do with the council. The mayor did that. So, but the councils all support him, so I was surprised to hear that. But I think it's a work in progress, as we should say, I think. So we'll take a look at that.
Thank you, Councilor DeLorco. Councilor Sheridan.
Could I ask a question through you?
Absolutely.
To town attorney, is that acceptable just to say we have 3 flags allowed, or would that get us around it, or?
What flags are you referring to? Just strictly the 3 governmental flags that were referred to earlier?
And if we add another flag?
Well, that's the big if.
Okay.
So, as I've stated to some of you, the approaches that other communities are taking, including Boston, which has adopted an ordinance in response to this case, is to rely upon a doctrine called government speech, which, in all due respect, the majority opinion alludes to. That being said, government speech is a relatively recent development in jurisprudence. In fact, it originated in a concurring opinion, I believe, from Justice Scalia when he was alive. So it came from a conservative background of the right of the government to assert its position and not have to share it. So it's in an evolving posture. We don't have a definitive guidance. So, and I think we're gonna sooner or later know what's going to happen, because I would suspect that there will be another round of litigation challenging those municipalities that have adopted this approach, and either government speech will be upheld, or it won't be, or they'll carve out an exception or whatever. Because unfortunately, when you start talking about government speech, it's like anything else. It's how is it defined, how broad or how narrow is it? You could construe it as broadly as giving you the right to do anything, and so then you're right back where you started, with complete discretion. So it's really unfortunate, but it becomes a case of unintended consequences. Be careful what you wish for. During my early tenure here, we had very valid concerns of extreme right-wing demonstrations coming to this town to challenge service people killed overseas, because there's a group out there whose philosophy was that was based, it was brought on by their own beliefs, and this group was out there demonstrating. And as objectionable as they were, the courts held that they were entitled to protest, and you needed to provide a place where they could protest. So then it was a question of keeping the parties apart. So there's just layer upon layer that goes with this.
All set? Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor Jones?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ted, well spoken, really, on behalf. And Kobe, you're not wrong. I'm sure there are people who feel, they have to hide because of those, and that's shameful. Myself, having family members who are gay, and myself knowing several people, some of my best friends, I hear it from them all the time. But ultimately, what I think this comes down to, and I agree wholeheartedly with Councilor Hamblin, is as a government, we need, in essence, to kind of keep a neutrality in regards to the government flags that we have out in front of the building. It would, for all intents and purposes, kind of make us judge and jury, when in fact here in the United States, people have the right to do whatever they want to do, and it would kind of open up, as I like to refer to, a Pandora's box of litigations, because it opens up to who ultimately decides what goes on that flagpole, and I don't think it's our position as a government to be that entity that ultimately decide what goes there. I completely, wholeheartedly agree with the fact of putting flag in private property in people's houses to show their commitment to their causes, whatever the causes may be. That's everyone's right, and everyone should continue to have that right. I wholeheartedly support that too, but I think, as Mel put it best, we shouldn't really be in that position as a government, kind of making that decision. It's keep a sense of neutrality. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Jones. Okay, the council pretty much has had an opportunity. Is there anyone in the council chambers that would like to make a comment, or please just, sure. If you just come up and name and address, please.
Kathy Trefethen, 3 Rizzoli Circle. It's spring and I'm back talking about flags. It's weird. I do want the pride flag displayed in my town. I can't say it's strong enough. It's been said better. I really want it. And I'm not a member of the community. I do think the concern about the doors it could open are very valid. I almost say it from my life experience as a person who worked with children and as a parent. And like, you really had to think things through, because what you said yes to could open doors you don't want to think about. So that's the way I have to relate to it. So I had to think and think, how could that concern be addressed in a way that would possibly be safe for everyone and reasonable and guided by other precedents. So there is a list of monthly observances that were determined by presidential proclamations. So I assume folks know this, you can Google it, depends which site you go to. Different sites seem to list different days, so obviously you have to find a uniform way. But there are presidential proclamations, and Pride Month is one of them. So it's like, okay, well, that's a parameter, you know, that's a way to think about it. Any month, any topic that has already been decided by presidential proclamation could be eligible for a flag, okay? Eligible, not required. So what do you have to do to get a flag up if this is a cause you support? You have to have criteria. So my quick thinking on the criteria would be that if people want a flag up by one of these topics that's already been vetted at a national level, there would have to be criteria. Maybe one criteria could be a petition, like that's quick thinking, you know. So you have to have a petition of so many people for a certain topic that they want the flag. So that's one criteria. Some of the months have like, I don't know, up to 2, 3, I don't know if one month has 4. So months have more than one observance. Well, how are you gonna deal with that? You know, what if you get all 4? So here's my, again, quick take on that. You have a flagpole that's designated for monthly presidential proclamation topics. The flags would have to be of a smaller size, all right? So the size is determined by the town to allow for multiple flags on one flagpole. And again, there would have to be some type of citizen strong movement to want that particular flag up. I really want the pride flag in Franklin. I think it's been very well said, the conditions that people have had to live under in this town, in this state, in this country, in this world, that are unfair and are evil. And I want to be in a community that helps to abate that. Thanks.
Thank you. Please come forward. Just name and address, please.
Hi, Mark Minichelli, 31 Longfellow Drive in Franklin. I'm here tonight to strongly support the display of the pride flag at Franklin Municipal Building during the month of June. I fully agree with Mr. Helland's recommendation not to allow Franklin's flagpoles to be used by third-party organizations to convey their messages. However, I encourage the town council to vote to display the pride flag on a municipal building flagpole during all or part of the month of June as a form of government communication. I've read the Supreme Court opinion regarding Shurtleff versus City of Boston, delivered by the Supreme Court Justice Breyer on May 2nd, 2022. In his opinion, Justice Breyer states that when government creates a forum for public debate, the First Amendment prevents government from discriminating against speakers based on their viewpoint. Quote, but when government speaks for itself, the First Amendment does not demand airtime for all views. And this next quote is directly from Justice Breyer's opinion. In 2017, Harold Shurtleff, the director of a group called Camp Constitution, asked to fly a Christian flag. Boston refused. At that time, Boston admits, it had no written policy limiting the use of the flagpole based on the content of a flag. The parties dispute whether on these facts, Boston reserved the pole to fly flags that communicate governmental messages, or instead opened the flagpole for citizens to express their own views. If the former, Boston is free to choose the flags it flies without constraints of the First Amendment's free speech clause. If the latter, the free speech clause prevents Boston from refusing a flag based on its viewpoint. I propose the Franklin Town Council develop or refine a clear policy which states that town flagpoles and displays are for the town to communicate governmental messages, not for convenience or use by private citizen groups to express their own views. In this way, the Franklin Town Council can continue to decide what messages the town government deems important to communicate publicly without opening a legally complex and logistically challenging situation of making a public flagpole accessible to any person or group with an opinion. So the immediate question is, does the Franklin Town Council want to send a message to Franklin and the world that Franklin is a welcoming community to all, including the LGBTQ+ community, which is celebrated in June? If so, please vote to display the pride flag at the Franklin Municipal Building as a governmental message to the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in council chambers that would like to speak on this issue? Okay, I will go out to Zoom land, and the first I see
Amber Wilson.
Amber Wilson. If you'd just unmute yourself, please. And just name and address, please.
Good evening, Amber Wilson, 903 Lincoln Street. As the person who initially requested this, I really appreciate the amount of attention and thought that it's being given. I have had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, including Jamie, Brutus, Carlos, Kobe, Ted, a lot of people. There has been so much discussion put into this, and I understand the logistical nightmare. Something that I do feel is important for me as the person who initially requested this to say is that, yes, I am a member of the LGBT community, and I am the president of the Franklin LGBTQ Alliance, which is hosting the Celebrate with Pride event this June for the second time. But beyond that, I'm a resident who has experienced issues in the town of Franklin because of my sexuality. I talked to our town admin about this, and thankfully the person that I had the issues with is no longer a member of our town employment, but it's still happening all the time. If I could express even a fragment of how hurtful it is to see the things and hear the things that I have heard. Beyond that, I am also a combat veteran who is disabled. So some of the things that I have seen in response to this, talking about debasing our veterans and things like that, a veteran is the person asking for this. A veteran who has been hurt by silencing and by not being supported in my existence. So yes, I understand that this is a potentially divisive conversation, but the divisive conversation is one that I have to live and many others have to live every day. We are doing our best to just exist, and all we want is to feel seen, to feel welcome, and to feel like we're part of a community of people that are gonna lift us up and love us and support us. We're not looking for like logistical nightmares. We're not looking to start trouble. I know that I probably have a reputation as a troublemaker now, and I apologize, but sorry, not sorry, I guess. I am very passionate about this. I am very passionate about this because I have been spit on. I have been, not in Franklin, but I've been spit on. I've been attacked. The stories I could tell you, okay? In Massachusetts, in the greater Boston area, other towns are doing this. Other forms of government are doing this. It is not impossible. I sent Kobe a lot of policies for other towns because this is something that I have been researching. I didn't come lightly to this council to have this initial request. And like I said, I really appreciate the amount of time that it has taken. I have come up with alternate possibilities, especially since June is basically right around the corner. And I'm going to be looking for volunteers to help flag the town common. So those little flags that you would see like on somebody's desk or things like that, I'm going to be collecting those, and we're going to be putting in for the permit, and we're going to do it. It's all going to be legit. And I've heard concerns about that. I've heard concerns about a lot of things, but I will tell you that the attendance at Celebrate with Pride last year filled me with so much hope. The feedback on the LGBTQ Alliance with our events that we're having, whether it's a game night or a meeting or a baking class or whatever, people want to be part of it, and they're desperate to feel like they are part of and seen and valued. So again, I thank you. I look forward to having 8,000 more conversations about this, and I hope you all have a great night. I'm in California, so enjoy
Thank you.
whatever time it is there.
Thank you, Amber.
Can we go back and could I make a few comments?
No, not right now.
Rachel?
Rachel, if you would just unmute yourself, name and address, please.
My name is Rachel Flukas. I live at 37 Anchorage Road. I am here as an individual who is adding her support for the town council to continue this conversation and make a goal to, not just with this pride flag, but with all of the State Department heritage months that I'm going to list to you, should have a space. There are 67 supporters that have signed a document that I will provide the council. There are 67 individuals who confirm that they're Franklin residents who support this. That petition was made yesterday evening, and there are a number of signatures there, and we will continue gathering those, and I'm happy to share them with the council. So the State Department has 10, there's not one for every month, there's just 10 National Heritage Months. The State Department says that they are to celebrate diversity and use of law-related resources to explore the nation's legal and cultural heritage. Then in order, we have Black History Month, Women's History Month, Arab American Heritage Month, Jewish American Heritage Month, Asian American Heritage, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, Military Appreciation Month, LGBTQ Pride Month, Caribbean American Heritage Month, Immigrant Heritage Month, and Hispanic Heritage Month. Those are 10 organizations that the State Department has officially said need to be given law-related resources and celebration of those particular causes. The council, Kathleen Trefethen, one of the other people who spoke earlier, mentioned one way that this can be done. The town, a lot of people actually have been saying how tough it can be to make this happen. I just said there's 10. Let's make a national heritage special poll. And instead of the division that this could cause, that has been mentioned by some people, this is going to cause a group to potentially be formed. For each of those months that I just listed, there can be a community of people who gather and are responsible for each of those months. Just like with the Franklin Downtown Partnership. This poll that can be bought and paid for by the community, or it can be used at one of the ones that is already standing on the property. But all these materials aren't going to cost taxpayers any dollar. There are 10 of them for 10 of the different months. There is no stress or discussion. Obviously, we're talking about the call to celebrate Pride Month, and it would be beautiful if we can figure this out in June. Either way, the council needs to continue this conversation, and we need to have that group considered as just one of the options, just one of the ways in which this can be done. The State Department calls on us recognizing the cultural and legal history of our community. And that's where something like the town property can and should be used to represent these important parts of our country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evelyn.
Evelyn, if you would just unmute yourself and name and address, please.
Hi, thank you. Evelyn Rossing, 136 Summer Street. I'm here to speak in support of the pride flag. I don't have a lot of words. Frankly, I think most everything has been said much better than I could put it. I would like to comment on Councillor Hamlin's remark that government should be neutral. I would say that that is incompatible with calling Franklin no place for hate. Because as we have seen in the news across the country, there are a great many governments that are fully supporting being a place of hate. And if you're going to say Franklin is no place for hate, that is not a neutral position. And flying flags like the pride flag, like flags honoring the heritage months Rachel mentioned, is demonstrating that principle, that value of Franklin as a community. I've only been a member of the LGBT community for a short time, and I've personally been very fortunate in my experience. In Franklin and in Massachusetts in general, but I've heard plenty of stories of people less lucky than I, and I think it's important to demonstrate our values as a community of acceptance, of being open to different lifestyles, different ways people have to live. I can't explain why I'm the way I am. I just am. This is how I am. This is how I'm built. But here, I have been safe to do that, to express my truth. And I want this town to show that they are open to all of their citizens expressing their personal truth. I don't tell anyone else how they need to live. I just want to be left to live my life as I want to live it. And that is the value behind, the idea behind not being a place for hate. And I think it's important, if you're going to say those words, you need to demonstrate that you mean it. You can't just say we're no place for hate. You need to express that. And I think flying the pride flag, these other heritage flags, is a way to express that Franklin is open to the non-majority, open to different ways of living and of being, open to that acceptance. And it's more than just words. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else out there in Zoom land? No. I don't, do you see anyone else? Mary, did you want, just once again, name and address? If you could come up to the
Bring
mic.
for Steve.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Hi.
Thanks,
Listening to the folks here express their feelings, it invokes in me compassion, and I can't. If we're a town, no place for hate, then I agree we have to show the flag. I really do. I think it's important. I can't imagine not feeling accepted by people or spit on, and the woman who's a veteran, that's disgusting. And she, served our country, and that's how we treat her? That's disgusting. That's just too much for me to hear. I have a son who's a medevac pilot in the Army, and to hear, he's been in Afghanistan, he's been out there, just if anyone ever treated him like that, I'd be horrified. And, we're all unique. We're all basically good people, and we need to really treat everybody with dignity and respect. And I think the flag growing in, flying in Franklin would put a positive spin on the no place for hate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anyone else before I go to you, Jamie? I certainly, I want to thank Councilor Cormier-Ledger, who I think did a great job leading into this, leading this discussion in the beginning. Councilor Hamblin, Councilor Frangillo. I truly understand and agree and support all of the comments that were made tonight, that have been made tonight. This is a very difficult discussion, and maybe not difficult, divisive might be a better term. I do believe that it deserves more discussion. And if I could indulge the council, what I think would be a good thing to do would be to put together an ad hoc committee to look at this issue, made up of a couple of counselors, but of the community as well, from different parts of the community. And then come back to the council with some thoughts, more than we're going to get in a 45-minute discussion here this evening. Jamie, I know you were going to.
No, I just want to recognize that Amber both gave a heart and a clap to that comment. You couldn't hear it, but I saw it. There you go, Amber. Thank you. She had the heart, but then did the clap, so I take that as a
I appreciate that, Amber. I think it's the right thing. I think it's the right thing to do. It'll get us feedback, better feedback, more feedback, and at the same time, I'd like to see us get some more legal advice as to what parameters we can and can't do. But it's certainly an issue that we need to discuss and deal with, because there's no room for hate in this community. And I think, Amber, if you're looking for a volunteer to put some of the flags in the common, you've got one here. So, and I'm sure you've got many more here as well.
I do it for the Safe Coalition, I can do that.
Jamie?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman, and through you to the council, a couple of quick thoughts just to hopefully educate the community a little bit on past issues with this. There is a space that the town has used for many years on exact situations like this, and that's on the town common.
Right.
I know for today's conversation about municipal flagpoles, I firmly understand how that is the goal. And as the photo illustrates that I put in the packet, I think all of you know where I stand on this issue. There's nobody who would feel more proud to look out the window every day. Literally, I'm like right there at the pride flag or the trans flag or any flag out there. I would be joyous if that was right outside my window all the time. On the other hand, and I know Councilor Frangillo is aware of this, we're not fearful, but we want to be smart. Councilor Frangillo is aware of an incident from the Freedom Team we had where a Confederate flag was placed on someone's home earlier last year. And it really rattled the neighborhood. There were a lot of people very upset. And we listened to a lot of those residents, and I think we were even horrified ourselves at the lack of power that we had over something like that, right? But you have to step back and realize this is the United States of America. We have the flag behind Councilor Chandler and Cormier Ledger over there, and there are other ways, to Councilor Hamlin's point before, that we have to understand other people. And we have to understand why was that done? Why were these things there? And so we're not necessarily fearful, but I worry if that were to happen, how would other people feel about that? And maybe that is actually progress in some way, is to bring that out more into the open. I think the internet and social media in a lot of ways have brought us all so much closer together, and we're still all learning, actually, probably a lot more of the truths about things than we ever did before. In the past, the DPW and the town administration, and I know Jeff dealt with this too, we've dealt with these cases on, how many times, Brutus and Carlos? I mean, on a monthly basis. People ask us to raise flags all over town. The schools just went through a horrific debate a few years ago about flags being placed inside the high school. And to Councilor Frangillo's point earlier, these things do take time to evolve. But to your point, Councilor Mercer, engaging the community deeper with the Interfaith Coalition, who we know will then end up getting a reverberation of anti-Semitism because of symbols and banners and flags. Engaging them to find out their views on these things, I think, is incredibly, incredibly important. The school committee as well. Times are changing and things are happening, but I believe the school committee has a policy of no symbols, flags, or banners located in the school buildings or on school property of this nature. I think they would see automatic requests right out of the gate to do the same thing. And I think we have to engage the school committee to find out where they stand on these issues. In addition to the Veterans Council for the war memorials, what we have always done, and Amber just alluded to it a moment ago, when folks want to raise flags on any flagpole in town, just like we did last week, we engaged at those parties and about their options. We have always allowed banners and flags and symbols to be placed at the gazebo when an organization rents out the common, which is free. We allow those folks to do what Councilor DeLoco mentioned a minute ago, and that's kind of the newer standard, actually, is the Safe Coalition. They've had banners for their events on the common for a couple days, and I've told Amber and the LGBTQ Alliance, if you want to reform your application for not just one day, but have it for a week or, a duration, specific,
Exactly.
a weekend, whatever it is, they have access to that for free. They can do that, and the flags can go in the ground like the Safe Coalition's done. And it was really heartwarming to hear Amber's, comments a moment ago of engaging more people to put out those flags, and that also I think Amber realized the expensive nature of putting up and down flags, which is extremely expensive to do all that. So I don't want to make the community feel like there are no choices here, there are no options, and that flags can't go anywhere. We have had this tradition on the common, just like every time at the holiday season. The Jewish community from Milford, as a matter of fact, not from Franklin, requests to put the menorah up on the common. The nativity scene is on the common. And, while people have different views about that, we've seen, I think, happiness and joy in most cases around that. I think that step is available for any organization right now.
Right.
And I just want people to understand that while the municipal building flagpole is into a whole nother level of context, there are options for people. And I think if a subcommittee would work on this, I think they would work through the issues that were brought up earlier. There's 4 or 5 observances sometimes in a month. Well, do they get the whole month, a week? And what's the cost of these things? Because there is going to be a competitive nature for this. Councilor Dorco mentioned it ago. You are going to have union flags. You are going to have third-party nonprofits for sure, religious. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. There's a lot of additional questions here. I think that the community needs to consider to be smart about this and make sure that there's even equity among access to those resources. So I hope that that gives a little bit of context to folks about the common, the gazebo. There are other places that these things can happen to show that we are no place for hate, that we are a welcoming and warm community. I was at the festival last year in June. I plan on going again this year to show my support. And it was a wonderful day. And I just hope people come away with, while there are instances of these things, the overwhelming majority of moments in the town of Franklin are absolutely positive. They are loving, they are caring, and they are positive, and we are as a community moving in the right direction. This is a very thorny legal issue, obviously, with a lot of evolution, as the town attorney did, and I think all of us on the staff are more than willing to work with all of you and anyone towards this ultimate goal of obviously some sort of dedicated space here at the municipal building. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie, and I'm glad you brought up the banner point, because there is something that they can do this year, in this June, can be done, while we look at this in a much broader picture. And I would just kind of look to the council for consensus that they agree putting a subcommittee together. I didn't think I'd get any people that said no to do this.
Yeah, no, there was some really good ideas that came up.
I thought there was some great ideas, great thoughts,
Yeah.
and I think, sorting them out through an ad hoc subcommittee, and if there are councilors that would like to serve on that, please, talk to me after the
I agree with that, but I also agree that the emails that we got from the people that are against it,
Oh,
I think we should have some of them on too. If
that's,
we're gonna-
it would be across the board. As Jamie alluded to, we
Hey.
need all the different,
I've been raising my hand, Tom, so I've been raising my hand.
where?
I see it right there.
It's Kyle Thompson.
Okay. Name and address, please.
Thanks, Tom. Kyle Thompson, Mercer Lane. I think you guys are too nice. The town council's too nice. I know some of you up there are, being cool under the circumstances, but first of all, the First Amendment does provide protection for all views. Okay, despite what the other person said. And the LGBT community or the LGBT message is not a governmental message. I think the LGBT community is sowing division in Franklin. Celebrating and raising a flag in regards to someone's sexuality or gender identity is ridiculous. I think we are all members of the Franklin community. We are all Americans. I believe the flags flown today represent us all. The Franklin community consists of people from different religions, races, ethnicities, sexual orientations, and political affiliations. We live together, our kids go to school together, and we play sports together. I believe we should live in harmony and work together to build a strong community. A flag celebrating a person's sexuality and gender identity will continue to divide this community. Recently, the LGBT plus community launched a new flag, YAP, Young Attracted Persons, trying to normalize having sex with children. This does not represent the community. Are we going to fly that flag also? Our religion, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and political affiliation should not be called out by a flag flown in town. The only flag that represents us all is the American, state, and town flags, as well as some of the armed forces flags flown in town. Recently, the school committee voted yes on an MASC resolution built by Denise Spencer with the Lexington and Somerville school districts to support putting children on puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and cutting off healthy body parts. This is being pushed by the LGBTQ community. Not all members of this community support this crap, okay? There are people in this town that want to vote no on flying this flag and what the LGBTQ community is doing in this town. Boys in elementary schools in Franklin are being allowed to use girls' bathrooms without consequence. Kids in elementary schools are being compelled to use pronouns and so forth. We are a community. We do not need to represent people's sexuality and gender identity with a flag. Be confident in yourself. You are not oppressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we have a consensus, and I think what we will do is put an ad hoc committee together to look at this further, and I do believe, Jamie, you've had the conversation with Amber about the banner and flags as an option on the common.
Absolutely, and I think, we'll continue to work with Amber on, as we do every applicant for every permit.
Absolutely.
Through June, for sure.
Yeah. One final.
Just a small wrap-up
Sure.
comment. This is ultimately a small piece of supporting the community. I think it would be great if we can rally around a passive statement that is putting up a flag that says we support members of the community. But most of the work is done every day, treating neighbors with care and love and respect and being open to others. So just don't forget that. This is, I think, an opportunity for us to do something to put out a statement. There are many ways to do that. I hope we have a good conversation about the best way to do that. But most of the work goes on all of you to love your neighbors as we do every day. Thanks.
Well said, Councilor Frangillo. Okay, moving on. Legislation for action. Resolution 23-28, Town Council approval of county ARPA funds. Clerk will read the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Resolution 23-28. Town Council approval of American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funds. The Franklin Town Council, on behalf of the Town of Franklin, hereby accepts the receipt of ARPA funds from and/or through Norfolk County, Mass. Approves the expenditure of funds for the below-listed purposes, and to authorize the town administrator to execute any and all documents and to take any and all other actions required for town to receive said funds. Water main replacement, yay, $779,666. This resolution should become effective according to the provisions of the Town of Franklin Home Rule Charter.
Move resolution 23-28.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion. Jamie, or do you want to pass it to the blue hat?
I just want to say, this is what I love about my job so much, is to talk about flags with such a thoughtful and courteous manner, and then we turn right to infrastructure. You know, water mains, right? Back to the bread and butter of, what every day we do. I really mean it. It's pretty cool. Really quickly, basically this is the last installment until we're kind of capped at the 75-80%. The county's letting us go over a little bit. This closes out the water main projects that we have, and we'll max out our money until the county releases that last 20%, which we expect later this fall. I hope I've articulated everything in the memo. I will say, obviously, the $779,660 is for the county, which all of you know we have to apply for via their policy. But I just want to add in, I hope folks read the memo at the end. The other municipal money, we were able to buy 2 electric vehicles to replace 2 of our gas fleet cars. By the way, cars, if you haven't noticed, are really expensive these days. And Pam Vickery and Mike D'Angelo, I just give them in the DPWJ, just a huge effort for watching the market like a hawk and just being able to find 2 cars at $16,000 a piece. This also takes care of, and this also exercises, we are able to utilize the grant from DOER to pay for the other half. So it's great. $100,000 towards the environmental assessment and preliminary remediation of the new style property. I didn't think any of you would argue with that. This is like now finally at the real deal. Like Brian Taberner's applying for a $500,000 grant because the EPA has never had more money for grants for brownfields remediation, and so we're trying to take advantage of that. The federal government likes to see the 20% match, which is funny because they're giving us the money and then we're kind of matching it back with them.
Any So, support we can give to that?
This is enough. And then $1 million for the lost hotel revenue we can finally actually put towards some road work. So, obviously this is amazing. I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. You'll hear it during the budget hearing. It's in the budget narrative. It was in the Globe today. The city of Boston has spent all of its $570 million in ARPA money. That's surreal. $570 million. The auditors flagged, what are you going to do, Boston, when the ARPA money runs out? And so we're still a couple years away from that, but it is something to look forward to. The good news with our money, it's not being operationally used.
Right.
It's all capital. So we really won't have that same drop, presumably, that Boston is going to have when all that money goes away and they have no way to pay for anything that they've been paying for it. Good luck to Michelle Wu, and that in a couple of years in an election year. So if anybody has any questions on the water mains, Brutus has a list of all the work that we're doing. I'm happy to explain to everybody where all the pipes are going in, if folks want to know.
Thank you. Councilors, Councilor Frangillo.
I would like to know
A summary,
a little, just how much does 700,000? We've approved a few of these now. How much does 779,000 get us in terms of miles.
The shorter version.
That's not enough.
Not many.
I know we're talking to Brutus here.
No, this money actually came in very good, and, you know, pat my team on the back. Mike, we got this project out really early. This year. So this is the Janie Ann project that's off Pond Street.
Okay.
So we're working down there. I think what's good about this is got it in early. The contractor actually has bought pipe last year, so it's on the ground. It's like 52 weeks to get pipe now.
Yeah.
So we got a really good price, and so we were able to get this money together to actually go out for this job. We had, it was, the side story I always tell is, like, in the old days, you know, pipe would be laying around. And before you put it in the ground, you have to decontaminate it because raccoons would go in there and poop and all this other stuff. And over on Country Club Way, they had, it's true, people don't think about this, this is what we do every day. But over on Country Club Drive.
It is. Back to poop.
I like being visual. If we had pipe, it was literally, it has a born-on date. It was made on a Friday in New Jersey, and we were putting it on the ground on Wednesday, the following week. That's how far behind they are on pipe. I mean, I was like making a joke, look, it's still warm, it just came out of the house. But, so that was really good, so we're ahead, once again, ahead again, that's where that money's going for that show.
The Janie Ave.
Yes, the Janie Ave.
Do you have?
Sure, you still have the floor.
Do you have a sense of how old the previous pipe?
So that pipe is the old AC pipe, the putty pipe type, it's asbestos concrete. It's not asbestos, some people think it's asbestos like concrete, actually the concrete holds together. So that pipe, I think it was 1960, so it's about a 70-year-old asset. We had a lot of breaks down there, and that's once again, we talked about at the capital committee today, that's a great road, because if you've been down there, the road's junk, right? You go ahead and put a water line in there, we're gonna go ahead and fix it. So I need road money next year.
Hey, you gotta ask.
I'll set Councilor Frangillo.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just to finish the point, and I say this often, I just want to continue to take opportunities to try to quantify what it means when we're talking about developing in a way that's that doesn't pay for itself, right? So this is a half mile of at tops stretch of pipe that serves maybe 24 homes. That is costing us $700,000. Multiply that across the town. The math just doesn't work out. And when we talk about needing to find solutions, of developing in a way that builds on existing infrastructure, that doesn't force us to put out new pipes, that doesn't pay for itself, this is what we're talking about, is projects like these, where in the 1960s we committed to paying for something and then didn't put enough money aside. We did that at a mass scale, and now we have a whole bunch of liabilities that us and our kids and our grandchildren are going to be struggling to pay for.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
We call it the Janie Road project, but there's actually some other roads in there, Schofield.
Yeah.
It's a little longer, and that's a little more houses, but Councilor Dunkel is right, it is expensive. And it's the whole plan. Exactly.
No question.
But it's more than 24 houses, I want.
I tried to incorporate others, maybe 40. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Any other councilors? Councilor DeLorco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jamie, you bought 2 electric cars. Do you know what they are?
Nissan Leafs? Is that how much Jay bought? Yeah.
Yep, we actually delivered them today.
Oh.
Did you get warranties with them? You know,
Yeah.
that's my number one
did.
thing.
They went out.
Because we don't have anybody that knows how to fix them. So we did get warranties.
Hey, just plug them in.
I'm not a big electric car guy. So.
I mean, really quickly, you can
Yeah.
explain this better. Jay's done a lot of training on these. I think Jay sees the future of this. We agree with you. Electric vehicles are still an evolution.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the battery issues that are going on in terms of storage unit. There's still are they better for the climate? I would say yes, but yet maybe there's some discussion on. I don't know.
Well, where's the battery?
But we
That's what I
got
always
2 cars for 23 grand or 32 grand.
Oh, they're
which is
good cars.
Which is, well, even just any car. For
They got a
30,
lot.
even one car for 32 grand, I would take it these days, looking
Yeah.
at the market. And so Jay just did I can't speak highly enough for him and obviously his team that he's put together. He's really done an amazing job.
No, because the Chevy Volts are terrible.
Yeah.
We get a couple of them. They're awful.
All four are the same too.
Yeah.
Okay.
The same manufacturer.
And that was a big deal for him.
I went to a training class on them too, but there's a lot more to them.
I agree.
I mean, you change the batteries in 5 years, that's $10,000.
Yeah.
That's
easy.
$10,000.
Okay, any other councilors? Seeing none, the vote will come on the motion to approve Resolution 23-28. A majority votes required. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Town Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to thank first and foremost all of the incredible Earth Day volunteers, over the past week. And I know there's still some other events coming up, but obviously volunteerism is what's been making this community very special for a long time, and incredible effort. And second, before I pass it back, as everybody knows, the town administrator's FY24 budget proposal is out. It's online. www.franklinma.gov. Just look for town budget, FY24. I know it's long. I've already heard about this 100 times. There's not a one-page Cliff Notes I can offer. I've done that. It's a 125-page narrative and about 140 pages of budget line item by line item. Quick plug, the agendas will be going out this week. May 8th is the first Finance Committee hearing at 6:30 here in the council chamber, also by Zoom. And so that will be general government. It will be benefits. It will be, all of basically all of the town departments with the exception of schools and public safety, including the DPW will be on that night as well. Wednesday, May 10th at 6:30 as well. In this room will be the Finance Committee. That will be the night of the school department. We have also invited the Tri-County Superintendent who will be here to give an update on their budget and their project, as well as for the first time ever, Norfolk Agricultural Technical School is coming. They're going to have a representative to talk about their school budget and where they're at in the educational world, which is really exciting. And then the final FinCom budget meeting will be May 11th, which will be all public safety, regional dispatch, building inspection, and final recommendations. So if anybody's interested in the FY24 budget, those are the dates to tune into the FinCom. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, subcommittee reports. Capital Subcommittee, Councilor Pellegrini.
Okay, we met this evening, and we had 4 items that we had to go over for round 2. And the items were for the Department of Public Works, design, maintenance, and construction of public roads, sidewalks, and parking lots. And that was for a total of $581,782. Marketing and branding to match the $50,000 grant Representative Jeff Roy secured for the town. And that was, as I said, for $50,000. So that's the match with the state. So that would be a total of $100,000. The SPED van, this is a replacement van for the school department for their special needs, and that was for $77,000. And for the town clerk's office, fleece vests and identification gear, and it also included signs and stands, and that was for $3,000 for a total of $711,782. And it was unanimously voted by our committee.
Thank you, Councilor Pellegrini. Those items will be on our next agenda for council vote. EDC?
No.
No? No budget, I know. GATRA, Councilor Frangillo.
Yeah, thank you. So we met, GATRA met on the 19th, the GATRA Advisory Board. Mostly, again, we have a new administrator who's been just going through systematically and cleaning up systems. One is the financials, and so this one, she sort of gave us a sneak preview at what will be the FY24 budget, which will be hopefully easier to read and categorize and just make more sense from a public perspective, to seeing where, which buckets money is being dropped into. If you ever have questions about what's happening at GATRA, it can be technical and confusing, the agendas and certainly the public meetings, please reach out to me with any questions about that.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Okay, future agenda items. Councilor Hamblin.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Councilor Sheridan.
I don't know if it's a future agenda item, but could we look into the issue about the road that they brought up?
Washington
Yeah.
Street, yeah.
Okay.
Councilor Frangillo.
Yeah, that was my one, is through trucking. I was going through other communities, and there are some, it seems like you're allowed to designate certain roads as being not available for
Yeah.
through trucking. I think it
Yeah,
would be time.
I'm
to
not,
look at that.
yeah, I'm not sure about it, but I think it's something that, Jamie gave me a nod when she was speaking, so.
The Google Maps has changed the whole way we
Yeah,
get through
exactly,
town.
exactly. Councilor Pellegrini.
Not at this time.
Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Just want to add my support for looking into the road issue, Mr. Chairman.
Councilor Chandler.
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Jones.
No, sir.
Councilor DeLarco.
Because I live there, definitely the road. It's awful.
I want to know who Mrs. Bennett is.
I'll tell you.
That might have been.
Okay, councilor comments. Councilor Pellegrini.
Oh, my goodness, okay. I would like to offer condolences to Stevie Gear. His father passed away, and Stevie was a retired firefighter. And his father, Buddy Gear, passed away this past week. And I did go to the funeral, to the wake, so to represent, because I've known them for so many years, but to represent the council too. I don't know if anybody else had planned to go there or not. And I did, I shook your hand, you were there. Okay, and lastly, this is a personal thing for me. I have a granddaughter that's graduating in a few days from the University of Georgia. She's graduating in 3 years rather than 4 years with 2 degrees. She's getting a degree in finance and also in French. So I'm very proud, and I'm bragging, and I should be bragging. Because
Absolutely.
she
I do it all
deserves
the
it.
time.
She
You-
deserves it.
You
3
a-
years, are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Takes after Ronnie.
She takes Absolutely. And that's it.
That'll be a coffee shop discussion tomorrow
That was good.
Councilor Hamblin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oh,
We don't even know who he's calling on.
Yeah, well, I figured I'd,
It's all good.
Councilor Sheridan, Councilor Cormier Ledger go first all the time.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd change it up.
First, I just wanted to thank Kathy and Rachel for coming up with, and I forgot to write down your name, sir. I'm very sorry. What was it? Mark. For solutions that we hadn't thought of yet. And I learned a lot, and thank you, Evelyn, for your comments. And everyone. I think the more we talk about it, the better, the easier it is to talk about things like this, and then we actually come to a pretty good conclusion or consensus. So, first I just wanted, and then I wanted to say, congratulations to KP Sampali. He received the Outstanding Volunteer Award from the Boston Cares group, and there's an arts and culture listening tour. We're starting up again on the 28th, 9 to 11 that's on Friday at the library. Right, Councilor Frangillo and Councilor Cormier Ledger will all be there together to listen to you. And thank you to Brika, Lai, Goodlander, and all of the commissioners that were here tonight. The open space is very exciting to all of us, as we already said before. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Hamblin. Councilor Cormier Ledger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to everybody tonight for your impassioned comments, for the solutions that were presented, and for the understanding to go forward and look at the issue as a complex one, as a group, I think is a great way forward. I have to say this in my personal comments, but it was clear to me that there's work to be done when there's still a resident of town who is going to equate what I am going through or what anybody in the LGBTQ going to, and he immediately goes to a pedophilia comment. It's uncalled for and it's disgusting. And you are somebody that I have taken the time to meet with privately and have coffee, and that won't happen any longer because I'm not going to avail myself of that kind of abuse. Not for you, sir. But to everybody else that wants to have a real talk and hear about these issues, I'm always available. To all of my friends on the school committee that have reached out, I hear you. We are trying. We have some tough budget conversations coming up, but we really are trying to look at this and figure out how to move forward and put a plan together. Thank you to Debbie for the great meeting tonight with leading the meeting on the Capitol. It was a great discussion, and to everybody that presented. And I'm looking forward to Friday when we resume our talks on arts and culture here in town, because with all that we have going on, that is still a very important topic, and we can't let that community down. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cormier-Ledger. Councilor Sheridan.
Hey, I too like to thank Brinker for the presentation and the people who made the positive comments, and also want to thank the rec department for organizing the Earth Day volunteer event.
Thank you, Councilor Sheridan. Councilor Chandler.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. First, second week in a row, a lot of emails. Great, I love getting those emails. Hopefully I responded to everybody. I want to give a couple shout outs. We don't always do this. People here get an attaboy, but first one, Councilor DeLuco, you were able to steal the best Ford mechanic in Franklin to come to the DPW.
I did.
We appreciate that. We really did. That was a big coup.
Coup, for sure.
It was.
I did.
And,
Better start paying him though, because he could go to Massport.
You son of a gun. I now know what, now it's on the record. Brutus, you gotta take care of this.
I know.
This guy doesn't want the commute.
You got that right.
Second one to you, Jamie. That special ed van was very important under the capital budget. I think the whole committee appreciated that. Let's see. Lastly, this didn't need to go under new agenda because it's more just an update maybe. It's too bad because I saw President Ken was here from Dean. They're getting a real police department again. So I didn't know if they were running around carrying guns now, and I just didn't know how big it was going to be, because we all know how quick any incident can escalate when it comes to that. So I didn't know what the situation was there.
Jamie, I'll give you a quick response because Ken will be coming back.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ken's probably gonna be coming back.
But it should have been
soon.
under.
Yeah, he wanted to come and speak about commencement, but I've already spoken to him to come to one of our next meetings, and we'll be able to ask those questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Anything else, Councilor Chandler? Councilor Frangillo?
A lot of it's already been said. You still got 2 surveys going, so if you haven't completed those surveys, I'm going to say it every time until they're open, but one of them closes this week, as you heard. So open space and rec plan, you have until, I believe, Sunday to complete that. But you still have your arts and culture survey open, and you can find that as well. Arts and culture meeting, that's Friday, 9 to 11 at the Franklin Public Library. Please come share your thoughts on how we can improve arts and culture here in town. I'll echo poetry the following day, on Saturday. Share your favorite poem at the library, noon to 3 at the library. And then I have 2 personal projects that I've been working to get off the ground, and they're actually coming to fruition. So one of them, I got a grant from the Cultural District to put on movie nights in the sort of as an homage to the old Zoetrope Theater. We held our first one yesterday, and it was everything I wanted it to be. We had the popcorn machine with real butter. We had local craft sodas. We had your candy, a cinematic experience. The Black Box Theater did a fantastic job helping me put that together. So that was the first of 3 for the pilot program. So the last Tuesday at 7 o'clock, the last Tuesday of every month. The next one's If Beale Street Could Talk. And I'm already working with Escape into Fiction. If Beale Street Could Talk is based off a James Baldwin novel. If Escape into Fiction is going to be selling that book in the weeks leading up to the film. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, so that's one project. The other one is we've cited a few times in a few different meetings Jane Jacobs, who is a famous social activist who would really did a large part in sort of pushing people to observe their community, take time, especially to experience it by foot or by walking or biking, and really experience their community and be observant and try to reflect on some new things. And so every year around her birthday, they do a Jane's Walk. This is a national event, and so I've always wanted to hold one in Franklin, so I am holding one this year with Franklin Matters, and that's going to be next, so not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. We're meeting at the Common at 10:30, and we're just going to do a few mile walk around town and talk about housing and development and whatever else comes to our minds as we walk around. So I'd like to see you there. All right, that's it for me.
Thank you, Councilor Frangillo. Councilor DeLorco.
Jesus, it's coming, about time you came to me. I just want to thank everybody for tonight, every presentation that came out. I mean, it's been a long night, but it was a good night. I think, we made progress, so that's good. Amber, if you're still there, I just, for a family that, had a lot of veterans, especially fighting World War II, had prisoner of wars in World War II, I just want to thank you for your service. I don't think anyone has, but I just, it seems like you deserve a thank you, so I wanted to thank you for that. And Louis Gare, too. Louis Gare was a great guy. He was very involved in the town at one point, until he got sick. So I want to, send my condolences out to them. But that's it. Get ready for spring. Hopefully we start getting some good weather.
Thank you, Councilor DeLorco. Councilor Jones.
Wow, I thought you forgot me again.
No, I saved the worst for last. I mean, the best for last.
I agree with that statement. We weren't such good friends. He's buying me coffee in the morning, by the way. You know that much. So I better show up tomorrow morning.
You better.
Be a fresh cup of coffee.
There will be.
No, but all joking aside, very, very constructive meeting tonight. I think, and I hate to use the Bruins analogy, but I will, because the Bruins are losing tonight 2-1.
Oh, okay.
Is that if there's one thing we can learn from the Boston Bruins and the Celtics, I don't mean to leave the Celtics out of this as well, is that through teamwork and through tenacity, you can fight through some really tough battles. I mean, no, it's the fact. Tuesday night, the second game against the Rangers, whoever they played, the Panthers, was a really brutal game. They got really beat up, and they almost gave in to the bullying. But the third game, they came back and they showed how much of a professional team they really are. And I know in front of me, right here, is a very professional team. And despite some of the toughness and the bullying that comes along through any kind of hard game or decision that comes across, we're going to be other professionals and work our way through it and ultimately succeed. I have no doubt about that.
I hope the Celtics are listening to you right now for Game 6.
I know. I hope the Bruins will win it because they're losing too. But the simple fact of the matter is, I want to thank Amber and all of our veterans for their service as to our country. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love and support our veterans. And I want to thank everyone for coming out and having this hearty discussion. I will brag a little bit. One of the first committees I ever joined in the town of Franklin back in 2006 was the Open Space Committee. That was the first committee I was on with Alan Earls. As a matter of fact, Alan Earls was the chairman of Open Space back in 2006. And it's always been one of my I hold dearly to my heart is keeping the town of Franklin a good place to live, but with plenty of open space and recreation. And I think with the plan that's going to be coming up is going to be a really good, positive plan for our community. And, no, I'm just kidding.
Where's the
And you
timer?
wonder why I saved him for last.
No.
Nobody wondered.
Nobody wondered. Good. I as well would like to offer my condolences to the Gear family, and I would also like to thank everyone who came out tonight, both coming to council chambers, coming onto the Zoom call, or we're just watching on TV. I think we had two very informative discussions this evening. Bricolai, the information that you brought forward is wonderful, and I know it's just going to grow from there with you at the helm. So really looking forward to some great things coming from the open space plan. And as far as the flag discussion, I want to thank everyone. I thought it was great discussion. I want to congratulate my fellow councilors, who I thought did a great job, came in with a lot of good ideas, good thoughts, and expressed themselves very, very well. So, and I think what we're doing, putting an ad hoc committee together to look at this, is the right thing to do. And there is something that they can do for this year that, you know, maybe isn't exactly what they were looking for, but at least it's a message that we're sending on the town common. So, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Non-debatable. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.